Hey guys, and welcome back to the Game Not Game podcast. My name is Green, and with me, as always, is Zen from his channel Zen and Cyrene. How you doing
I
today?
am doing well. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. So, big updates. Last week, we were talking about the JuicerNO, how it's this $400 machine that kind of squeezes a bag of fruit and turns it into juice, as one could with one's hands. Since then, there's been some more information released. A professional engineer stripped one of these things down, took apart the JuicerNO to see what's behind the $400 price tag for a machine that doesn't really appear to do anything. And the answer is pretty surprising. The reason the JuicerNO is so expensive, it has nothing to do with its function. This is not a functional machine. It doesn't do a lot of stuff, but it's beautifully engineered, and that's because their funding was so wild that they were able to just throw money at this thing. Fuck it, machined parts, whatever. And so this thing is all just beautiful brushed aluminum and stainless steel, handcrafted parts. Are extremely expensive. And even the plastic used in it is an extremely expensive type of plastic that's variably thick, so it's really easy to fuck it up and have to throw away plastic. And everything's just handmade and beautiful, and it's got a fucking computer in there, obviously, to read the QR codes and shit, and to connect to the internet, which everything has to do now. And that's why it's so wildly expensive. But what he also found is that the way it squeezes the juice pack, they weren't lying about the amount of force this thing needs to squeeze the juice. They were like, oh, you can lift 2 Teslas, and people were like, fuck, I can do it with my hands. But the thing is, the machine is trying to crush the juice pack with one steel plate all at once. And that, spreading out the force like that means it needs way more force than if you're just squeezing a part of it like you would with your hands. Mm-hmm. So instead of, all it has to do is just, instead of trying to push the whole steel plate at once, just, diagonally do it, and it would take less force. Mm-hmm. But instead, they designed it in a way that's both, incredibly over-engineered and beautiful and, the height of engineering, and also unbelievably stupid. So that's where we're at with that.
I can believe that. I can definitely believe that because the inventor of JuicerNO, like we discussed last time around, is a first time, not a first time entrepreneur generally. He did found a juice bar, but a first time consumer product innovator, right?
Yeah.
So
this is his first time engineering something.
Yeah, and then combined with the fact that he almost seems to want to be going for the Apple crowd. Not that I am throwing shade at you guys, but this is definitely positioned as a premium product to the point in which it's all expensive materials, very slick, so on and so forth. But it's not even a proven product yet, right? When the iPhone came along, mm-hmm. the idea of a cell phone had existed for some time already. Right. So a lot of inexperience.
Yeah, this guy's trying to. Yeah. He's trying to innovate something that does not need this kind of innovation, and it's it's in so many ways a step backward from an existing juicer. Mm-hmm. That's what's incredible about it to me. It's let's make a juicer, but instead of you put fruit in it and make juice, you have to order a bag of fruit from us, and then in the least efficient way possible, we're gonna squeeze that juice out of that bag. With a machine that's made of all these beautiful custom parts and everything that we're going to spend $400 on is just so much waste. And the guy who did this, the guy who stripped down the JuicerNO, made a credible argument that if this guy had gotten a tenth of the funding he did, because it was $50 million or something, he had an absurd amount of money to spend engineering this juicer. Mm-hmm. And if he had nearly 120 million is what he ended up with, so he could just throw this money at it, and they could just keep on engineering it and iterating and just making it crazy, without ever going to market and seeing okay, what's good and what's bad about this in real life. Mm-hmm. And that's how this happened.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, I'm sure if they actually did. I don't know. I'm not privy to what happened behind the scenes. But I imagine if they did extensive focus group testing of real life customers, somebody would eventually say, "Well, can't you just squeeze the bag?" And then all of this nonsense would have been avoided.
Yeah, they had to do something about that. There's a really good whole like chunk of this article titled "Unnecessary Complexity," and he says, while it's hard to know exactly why the press is designed as it is, there are several signs that the designers/engineers went wild. As one example, let's zoom in on the locking mechanism that keeps the door closed. It includes a large aluminum frame, 10 custom injection molded parts, one solenoid to keep the door latched but not structurally closed, motor and controller board, 2 stamped steel parts, 1 coil spring, 2 custom dowel pins, 4 bushings, a gear, and various screws, cables, connectors, and glue and stuff.
Wow.
And that's just the mechanism that keeps the door latched closed while the fucking juicing is going on. That has nothing to do with making juice.
Right.
That's a door that didn't even have to exist.
Right. Right, it's just, I don't know, a lot of this, like you said just now, they have a lot of money. Instead of investing it in things that could actually help the business go along, they just made the product a white elephant, really.
Yeah, yep. God, yeah, imagine if they had just spent $10 million making the product and then $110 million on focus testing.
If they did that, the board would fire him. But just generally speaking, they could have spent $100 million somewhere else.
I'm just saying it would have turned out better.
Yep.
They would have really known what the market wanted.
That's true.
Whereas in this case, they did not. However, Ivanka Trump has gone on record tweeting that she's really into the juicer.
Yes.
She advertised it on Twitter, so that's pretty good.
Yep, this was last year, right? Before she actually,
was it actually? Okay.
Yeah, I looked at the date of the tweet. So she didn't like completely mistime that tweet. It's just a thing that happened in the past.
I like that less. I just saw this tweet this morning. There was like somebody quoted her tweet saying, "JuicerNO, wow, what a great idea!" And he's like, "I love when the A plot and the B plot finally like coincide." I thought that was a really good thing, because that's kind of how my life is. There's 2 plots. There's stupid Silicon Valley, and then there's the White House. So it's always good when those collide.
I'm sure you'll see more of that. I don't know. Maybe Trump will invent a Keurig for caviar or something. A Keurig for caviar. That's called a can opener.
I was gonna say that sounds horrible. That sounds really awful. You've just got like dried up caviar in little fucking cups, and then you stick them into a machine, and it like blasts them with boiling water until it's some approximation of caviar. That's the kind of shit he would like, though, because like this is also a guy who gets his steak well done and then puts ketchup on it.
Yeah. Yep.
So he likes steak because steak is like a rich guy food, but then, I'm
maybe
just shaking my head. You can't see me.
Maybe it's premium ketchup that came.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't even know.
There's no chance that's Heinz that he's putting on it.
Somebody's got to ask that question. Quick, reporters, get on that.
Yeah, it's ketchup with little flakes of gold in it.
Which probably, I mean, eating gold leaf has been around for a while, so that might happen eventually, or he'll make it happen. Just his personal.
Yeah, I mean,
ketchup
there's already like trashy like liquors that do that. It's
yeah.
Like you just take a cheap liquor, put some gold flakes floating around in it, and then charge $100, and people are like, "Oh, that must be the good stuff because it's got gold in it."
Somebody's going to do that for craft beer eventually, I think.
McDonald's fancy ketchup.
Hello, no.
Yeah, what the fuck is the deal with that? You've seen this, right?
No.
Like ketchup, like little ketchup packets will say fancy ketchup on it. As if like there's a different kind of ketchup that's not that. Like as if this is more fancy than any kind of ketchup.
I have no idea, but if I'm going to make a guess, I think there was a time back in food marketing history in which it was, people just call things fancy for no good reason except to market it. So it might date back from them. I don't know.
I guess so. Yeah, and just those little fucking... Because I've never seen it on, like, a bottle of ketchup.
Right.
I've only seen it on, like McDonald's is one example, but also, like, the kind, like, at school cafeterias, they'd have just little generic brand, like, you know, prison ketchup packets, and they'll just say, like, fancy ketchup on it. It's like, what does that mean? What? Okay, sure.
It's supposed to make you feel a little better?
I guess so. Yeah. It's supposed to make you think, like, oh, you're in a California school. This is high-class stuff that you're being provided with.
I'm sure this is everything you guys have said, you and Nona, is true. But I don't think I've ever noticed the word fancy ketchup on my ketchup. But then again, I barely ever eat ketchup, so I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not something I've thought about in many years. I'll definitely say that. Because I don't remember the last time I've opened a little packet of ketchup. I don't eat out hardly ever. But yeah, some of them used to... this might be 10-year-old information at this point, but it used to say fancy ketchup on it.
Well,
anyway, 90s kids remember.
90s kids remembers the fancy ketchup and the little and the paper cups. Do you remember that there was this whole big thing about the generic paper cups, and then people saying, "Oh yeah, the pattern on those paper cups are cool. They're called Jazz or something," and then started wearing shirts made of it.
What?
I'm serious about this.
That.
Let's go. I'll bring this up in the next podcast, I think, because I do need to do some research. But this actually happened like a year or two ago, in which people started going to an online frenzy, trying to figure out who designed the quote unquote jazzy designs on paper cups. So yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to do some additional research. It sounds like.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Wario.
I don't even have a vague idea. Sorry, go ahead.
Doi Wario in the chat says, my school doesn't even have ketchup in the cafeteria, only in the food carts outside. It's been so long.
Is this a public school, or are you in college?
Yeah, it's been so long since...
That sounds like a college thing.
It could be. It's been so long since I've done either of those things, like eaten in the high school cafeteria or eaten in a college, like a cafeteria, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while for me as well. So anyway, you want to talk about cameras designed to watch people get dressed?
Yeah, we can do that. We can talk about that, certainly.
All right, so Amazon has a new idea. So we all know about these Amazon Alexas, and like the Amazon Echo is the thing. It's like a speaker or something that plays music. So now, like the next iteration of this world is the Echo Look. That's the newest Amazon device that Amazon wants you to keep in your house, and it's basically like a webcam that you put wherever you get dressed, and then the webcam like watches you get dressed and then uses fucking like, you know, deep algorithm learning to learn or to decide like what you should be wearing. It's like, oh, that outfit sucks because you know, the millions of images I've looked at indicate that outfit sucks, so choose something else. And yeah, that's the idea.
It's a logical extension, I guess. A logical extreme, like, if you ask Northern Lion, which I'm sure it is. It's just the idea of it is just a little bit odd, to put it mildly.
I absolutely can't believe that this made it through any kind of meeting where somebody was like, I've got it. A webcam that watches you get dressed and like is connected to the internet, and not everybody in the room was like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, what on earth? What on earth? That's crazy. So apparently, like, not only is it, like, just on the surface, just a machine watching you get dressed is kind of weird. This thing is internet enabled. This thing is connected to the web. This thing is uploading pictures of you to the cloud. And you can apparently delete them whenever you like, but we all know how that goes because fucking like Apple Cloud got hacked that one time and a bunch of celebrities had nude pictures leaked. This is like just everybody all the time. Every single time you get dressed, you're like taking nudes and putting them on the internet for no purpose.
I'll tell you, I don't think a lawyer was in the room when that happened, when they approved the pitch on that.
Yeah, it's quite a thing. Wow, what an idea. They should partner with the Sci-Mi. There you go.
Can you remind me what the Sci-Mi is again?
That's the camera-enabled dildo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that in one device you could externally and internally take pictures of yourself.
Oh, God.
for some purpose. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe in 25 years, that's where social media will be at. I mean, the amount of things we take for granted that we share nowadays would have shocked somebody from 15 years ago. I think we talked about this at one point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible that this technology has just not its time yet. But that's kind of a horrifying idea in
It is.
itself.
It really is. It's just weird that I'm considering it, that somebody might decide to share that information, the Sci-Mi information. But I don't know. People have been really forward about these kinds of things nowadays. Hope it doesn't get that far, but hey.
Yeah. Fashion model and porn star career with one device. Mm-hmm. One weird trick discovered by a mom.
A MILF.
Using the Echo Sci-Mi Look app.
Oh, goodness. I mean, this is where we are going now. I mean, not the dystopian future of people sharing the ins and outs of dildos. Oh, God. But
God, sorry. That should be the tagline for the Sci-Mi.
Yeah.
Discover the ins and outs of dildos. Holy fuck. Holy shit. This is the best unintentional joke I've ever heard in my life.
Oh no. Somebody, okay, well, you know what? Sci-Mi, if you're listening to this and you need somebody to write your copy, well, here I am.
Yeah. Man, what a world.
On a similar note, I found this story back in January, actually, so it's not that recent anymore, in which in China, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, is starting to implement technology in its restaurants, facial recognition technology, to categorize customers and then tell them or suggest to them meal choices that its algorithm thinks that will make the customers happy. So you walk in, KFC's new technology looks at your face, makes a guess at your age, gender, and other facial cues it says, and then each customer gets your own personalized meal recommendation, and they can go what the customer thinks you like, or just go pick food like you normally do.
So you know how there's a lot of controversy about machine learning recently, like for example, there was recently there was an AI judged beauty contest and it picked mostly white people. It's like the idea that machine learning just kind of embeds existing human biases in a computer. Mm-hmm. I'm really concerned that this thing is just going to be like, oh, you're black, you want like watermelon and fried chicken, right?
Well, that's not going to happen right away because this is China. So they're going to use they're using demographic data from China, right? And so it's basically going to be mostly 99% Chinese data. But yeah, eventually, like you said, a scenario will come along in which the AI just does something extremely racist, and then there'll be a huge blow up. That's absolutely going to happen at some point.
100%. That's just when you start like guessing people's preferences based on how they look. That's like the definition of being racist, basically, right?
Yep.
Like I don't understand how that's ever not going to go wrong. Like even in China, surely there's some sort of like, you know, I don't know Chinese culture well enough to say, but surely there's some sort of culture like people from the south of China, you know, like this kind of thing or something. There's got to be some equivalent there, I bet.
Yeah, my guess My guess in this particular case is that they're going by demographic data. Not just
Right.
demographic data, but cross-reference to buying habits. So to take your example, the south of China, if they find out that, certain numbers, children from the south of China, for example, the AI determines your child, you like chicken nuggets more than you like mashed potatoes, then they'll suggest chicken nuggets. I don't know.
Right.
So that's what I'm guessing, but it's just really, it's just this machine learning technology stuff is getting more and more pervasive generally at a faster rate than I ever expected.
It's a really powerful technology. Like, this is the microprocessor of our age.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, we've already lived through kind of the proliferation of computers generally, and now there's a second renaissance of, we can teach computers how to do things that were beyond their reach for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even the idea of having a computer look at a picture and be like, oh, that's a face, that was so fucking far beyond technology, even 10 years ago. And now that sort of thing is becoming commonplace, so everybody's just thinking of new ways to use it, and a lot of the ways are bad.
Yeah.
So here we are. It is really cool technology, though.
Yeah.
I'm consistently. Have you seen this Face app thing, right?
How could I not? So
yeah, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere on Twitter right now. I hope it's not like the Meitu app from a while ago. Do you remember the previous one in which it turns out that it had super invasive permissions?
Yeah, the one, it was the one that's like, it makes you turn into a cool, like, sparkly anime person, and then also sends your data to China.
Yeah.
So that they can calibrate their KFC thing. Oh my god, we figured it out. This goes deep, then.
It does go deep. Yeah, I mean, everyone gets value out of that. You turn yourself into an anime character, and then after that, when you go to China, then you get personalized chicken. It all fits.
Yep.
Like a Saimai. No, let's not go there anymore.
Oh my god. Fuck's sake. Okay.
Thanks for reminding me about that Saimai. No.
Yeah, that really transformed the podcast so far. We're going to new places with this podcast.
Yeah.
Reaching new depths.
Mm-hmm. And then going back out again.
Yeah. And then in and back, etc., etc.
Etc. Yep.
But yeah, anyway, I feel like the least interesting kind of application for machine learning that I've seen so far has been fucking, like, advertising companies trying to use it to predict what you're gonna buy.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of other really cool things. Oh yeah, like the Face app. Sorry, so Face app.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this thing, it's a disturbingly good like auto photoshopping tool. It has a number of different settings. There's one that makes you look like a baby, and there's one that makes you look super old, and there's one that's like a gender swap one where you put in your face and tell it, like, make me into a girl and or a boy, depending. And those are all, like, it's really impressive. Like, I've seen some results, and sometimes it's not great. Mm-hmm. But the vast majority of the times I've seen it, it's actually pretty fucking good. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the kind of thing that 2 years ago would have taken a very skilled Photoshop artist to make anything approaching it. Mm-hmm. And now it's just, here it is. Like, it does crazy shit. Like, it removes beards and stuff, and it, like, adds long flowing hair to people, and just, yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I should try that out as soon as I figure out whether it has crazy Meitu permissions or not. But given that people hopefully have learned from the last time that maybe it doesn't, then people are okay with that generally, and then started posting those.
Yeah, I've seen enough people who I trust to not be stupid use it that it's probably fine. Mm-hmm. But I haven't used it myself. It's the sort of thing I'm happy to watch other people use and be creative with. It's not like it's not something I enjoy playing with that much. I'm just not creative enough. But people have done all kinds of really funny stuff. Somebody used it on the Doom Guy face, which was really good. It's this pixelated dude with suddenly, like, a big, toothy, like, high-resolution smile. It's kind of, it was a little bit disconcerting.
Yep.
Oh yeah, giving the Mona Lisa a smile. I've seen that one.
Yep. Dohai Warrior talked about that one famous Depression era photo of the mother who is uncertain
Oh yeah,
or distraught rather,
yeah.
and then
You can
gave
just
her a
add
smile.
you can add this big goofy smile to fucking anything. It's great. Technology, man.
Yeah.
This is the future. The future of photography.
I remember.
God, I was just talking about this. Was this last week's podcast where I was talking about how disconcerting it is that soon photographs are not going to be compelling evidence anymore? I think I was just talking to Katie about it actually. So one concern that I have from looking at FaceApp and other similar like machine learning photo manipulation things is like I think that we are about to leave a very narrow portion of human history where a picture of something was like a definitive proof of it pretty much. And like, so we were able to, de facto kind of disprove like ghosts and Bigfoot and whatever, because during the period where everybody had a smartphone for like, 10 years and nobody got a single good picture of a ghost, like we could just say, nope, didn't have, not true, not real. But now we're really quickly going to enter an era where, everybody can take pictures of things, but also everybody can just tell a computer, hey, also make it look like this. And just, do really advanced photo manipulation automatically. At which point taking a picture of something is no longer going to be proof because everybody's be like, oh, you just, used an app to change it.
Yeah, to a certain degree, that's already happening, right? It's just that it's going to get much more advanced. Yeah,
exactly. It's still very limited in what it can do. Like, I can add a big smile to this guy, but I can't say like, oh, make it so that I am standing arm in arm with Elvis, and I just proved that he's still alive, And also edit him so take this picture of Elvis and then edit him so that he's 30 years older, and then put him in this picture in full color. Like, that's the sort of thing. I mean, somebody could hypothetically do it with Photoshop, but it'll pretty soon be easy to just do that with a computer.
I think what's more likely going to happen first is that somebody is going to be, let's say, for example, on a college campus, somebody is going to take a picture and they say, I don't want this person to be in the background behind me. Gone.
Oh, that already exists, kind of.
Oh, it does? Yeah. I mean, like, in line into a photo, because I know that it exists in Photoshop, but I didn't know that exists in just a photo taking app yet.
God, yeah, I might just be thinking of a Photoshop tool, but yeah, it's definitely, it's easier than you think to do that. It's definitely a thing. Yeah, because I've seen people do that. You just remove people from photographs. Yeah, stuff like that is definitely coming, if not already here, and just all kinds of things. Like, you'll be able to create just a photorealistic picture of anything you can imagine within probably 15 years.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah. Because, like, the technology already exists for that. It's just really expensive and hard. Like, you need to be good to do it. But pretty soon we'll just teach a computer how to do it, and nobody will ever have to do it again. We'll just tell the computer, make the picture.
Yeah. Well, again, we live in an interesting time for sure. All of these, like, silly little apps coming out. And then suddenly we are in a world in which we cannot trust visual media anymore. Not to the same degree we did in the past.
Yeah, it's gonna, because what is the government gonna do with that? It's like, oh, look, we have photographs of Kim Jong-un drowning a kitten. Like, did it really happen? Who knows? Guess they could hypothetically already do that, though.
Yeah, he's more likely to point at the kitten, though.
That's true. He's really, or like stroke his chin while he looks at the kitten.
Yeah.
Just with a really thoughtful expression.
Yeah. If you have no idea what it is we're talking about, go look up Kim Jong-un pointing at things, because that seems to be one of his favorite things to do in pictures.
He really does do that. He just goes around and looks at stuff.
Alrighty. Yeah, we were going to talk at some point about creepypasta.
Yes. Well, a specific creepy thing anyway. I don't have any creepypasta to talk about, unfortunately. But there's a new thing. This YouTube channel just kind of, popped up and said, like, this guy claimed that he has this weird game that he found for the PS1, created in 1997 by a studio named Garalina, which does not appear to exist. And it's this weird, like, half-finished, fucked-up PS1 game. And then things go weird. It's really interesting. I meant to watch some of it, but I didn't. I'm definitely not going to watch the whole thing, because it's like an hour of this guy wandering around this shitty, half-finished game. But eventually, like, he finds secrets in it, and then it starts, like, hinting at dark shit. Like, there's a reference to a case of child abuse that led to a child being killed in, like, a therapy thing that did not go well. And yeah, just, you know, as they do, like, as all of these, like, creepy games do. But what makes this unusual is that there's no, like, this isn't like a game you can just find and download. It's just this one guy playing through this game and acting very genuinely like he doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know what to do. Just wandering around, as a Let's Player does, you know, just, like, missing shit, walking into walls, like, fucking, what am I supposed to do here? Fuck, I hate it. And it's not like there's much going on in the game, but also it's really hard to find a way to progress. So people are wondering, like, what on earth, did somebody, like, slip this to this guy, or did he actually, like, make this whole weird game and then act like he doesn't know, which would be super hard. Like, people don't realize how hard that would be to, like, credibly Let's Play a game badly that you know what you're supposed to do, but instead you're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then there's all this weird creepy shit. So that's kind of cool. It's called Petscop.
Yeah. Yeah, so go look it up. It is on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing. Kotaku did a little article about it if you just want to read about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen about it was the Kotaku article. And it sounds really interesting. Like, this kind of stuff is kind of up my alley. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully there will be updates to the story. But yeah, that's the latest in creepy video game news.
Mm-hmm. I like creepypasta. Just generally.
I used to really enjoy it too. Actually, do you know Cameron Suey?
I've heard the name, but I don't remember.
He's a Twitter guy. And he does. He wrote for the Tomb Raider reboot, like Raider, not Tomb Raider 1, but Tomb Raider. So he's a video game writer. But I found him. It was really interesting. I found this guy way back. I was like 17 years old, and at that point in time, I would enjoy going on 4chan's creepypasta board, like /x, and just, you know, reading the creepypasta there. And some of the very best stories on that board were from this guy who called himself Joseph K, and that ended up being Cameron Suey. But at that time, he went by you know, a pseudonym. And he posted his blog. He had, like, a blog spot where he posted all of this really good stuff. It's the Joseph K stories. I think it's still up as far as I know. And just tons and tons of really good, well-detailed stories. The one you might have heard of, this most famous one, is the one about the guy who gets infected by the fungus, like ants get, you know, that, like, makes them want to climb. Yeah, so there's a guy who gets infected by that, and the narrator, like, goes in and is, like, looking for his friend and goes upstairs and sees his friend, like, hanging out on the roof of a building with a big, like, mushroom jutting out of his skull, and then he just ends up going crazy and wanting to climb too. That was one of his.
Okay, no, I've never seen this one.
No, yeah, it was very famous back then. So I like joined his blog spot and read all of his stuff, and at a certain point he was like, okay, I want to start trying to publish my stuff, so I'm going to give you guys a password to see, like, secret stuff I'm working on, but then they won't be able to, like, find it on the internet and not publish it because of that. So I got a password to his site and everything, and then way later I found him on Twitter and found out that he's actually writing for Tomb Raider at the time. Like, he was currently doing that, and I was like, whoa, weird, because at that point I was also in video games too. It was just interesting to see our lives collide like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the artists and the writers of your youth, my youth, and where they ended up in their careers later on. I think I've talked about this for my part for the artists I followed already, so that's in the previous episode.
Yeah, the Bastion guy, right?
Go. Yeah, she's the art director of Bastion.
Right.
Yeah, but she used to draw, Castlevania fan art on Elfwood, which is a fantasy art gallery from like 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah, so go check out Petscop. And I know I promised on the live stream a few days ago that I would go look up more creepypasta stuff. I totally haven't been able to do that, so I apologize, but I'm going to try to do that for next week. Talk about some of my favorite ones.
Okay, cool. If you want to see some of my favorite ones, go to josephkstories.blogspot.com, assuming it still exists.
Yeah.
Very, very good stories there.
Speaking of, actually, I remember one. Have you heard of Candle Cove? That's a really famous one. Right?
I have indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, Candle Cove is purportedly, and you can go and watch the video on YouTube if you want to, this puppet show, kids puppet show from the past. It's done in the way of a VHS. Mm-hmm. And then supposedly there's a part of the VHS that becomes static, the video that becomes static, as videos sometimes do, the recording ends, but people claim that they can see more stuff in it. So, I will go and look at more of this, because the way I describe it sounds very prosaic, but I'm sure there's more creepiness in there that I'm forgetting by now.
No, yeah, it gets really fucked up. There's, it's a good story. We shouldn't just randomly spoil it. You should read about Candle Cove.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it next week. Yeah, that's our game of the week, Candle Cove.
Candle Cove. This is the last episode of the podcast? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. We just never come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Candle Cove is a good creepypasta.
Yeah, I like that. Well, believe it or not, I learned about it. I think I've told you, Green, but I don't know if our wider audience knows this. I learned about Candle Cove and I learned about Slenderman not through the usual means you might expect, but through people playing role-playing game scenarios like tabletop horror RPGs based on those legends.
That's right.
Yeah.
God, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I got really interested in running those games myself. Because those were just really creepy in the right ways. Mm-hmm. Like, adventure. I mean, it's a tabletop RPG. It's kind of like, yeah, it's creepy, but it's also you're an adventure, etc., etc.
The next podcast should just be a static screen for an hour and a half. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Or we start talking about Candle Cove, and then it just turns to static, and then we're like, so anyway, that's Candle Cove, and then it fades back in. For 10 minutes, there's just nothingness.
We'll become creepypasta ourselves.
Yeah. Too spooky, man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So in game news, really quick, we should touch on a video game. Have you ever heard of Night Trap?
I have indeed. There was a lot of I grew up around the time. There was a lot of controversy about that game.
Yeah, Night Trap. It's a fucking weird ass Sega Saturn game. It was really ambitious and really stupid. The developers first off wanted to do it on a crazy idea for a console that used VHS tapes, like an FMV console, where you put in a tape and it would fast forward or rewind to the right part and play what's supposed to happen. Just absolute bonkers shit. That never would have worked. But yeah, so it got that console got canceled, and then it got ported over to the Sega CD because they were like, oh shit, these CDs are big enough to hold all our VHSs. So it's this game, it's an FMV game where the conceit is that you're a security guy monitoring security cameras in this mansion, and the parents have left, and there's a teen fucking 90s ass slumber party going on in the house. And there's also a bunch of bad guys trying to break in and do bad stuff in the house. So you have to split your attention between the high stakes drama of the teen, slumber party comedy and the Augs who are sneaking into this place. So there's this whole intro scene that they've made There's a music video. They're like, they get all excited. They like, somebody's fucking like playing air guitar on a tennis racket, and they're singing the theme song for the game, Night Trap. It's like, Night Trap, they're gonna find you, Night Trap. And just, so it's this weird, like, fourth wall breaking shit. And then if you try to watch this whole scene, you will lose the game, because all the Augs during the intro cutscene will fucking come in and break into the house and kill everybody while you're just watching the fucking cutscene that they made. It's bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the most 90s shit. Like, it's a bunch of girls, and then one girl like brings her cousin to the party, and he's this guy, this awkward kid with sunglasses, and the main character girl thinks he's super hot, and they just like it's like full on just an episode of a 90s comedy sitcom. Yeah, it's really weird. So anyway, Night Trap, the reason this is news and not just me reminiscing about a crazy-ass video game, it's its 25th anniversary coming up, and they are going to release the game on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One later this year.
Wait, not Steam?
I don't think Steam, no.
There's so many bad, well, I wouldn't say bad, but there's so many blasts from the 90s passed on Steam right now that, like Harvester, for example, that I would have expected they would put it on Steam.
It would fit right in. I'm surprised they're not, but no, it's a PlayStation and Xbox exclusive.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, and it's like such a weird, shitty, cheesy game whose time has so passed. I can't imagine anybody wanting to play that video game right now.
Well, I mean, people will play it or watch it nowadays because it's crazy 90s stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely. But it's like, I don't know, man. The only thing that made this game notable at the time was it used full motion video, and even then, it was one of the worst games of the time.
Right.
It's one of the worst games ever.
I'm wondering, actually, Green, have you ever seen Harvester?
Harvester. It's so familiar to me. Hang on, let me look this up.
It's like a horror FMV game, also from around the same era or slightly later.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. I gotta remind myself. Oh, shit. Don't watch the trailer. Yeah, this crazy shit. Yeah, I love Harvester.
Yep. So, I watch a playthrough of it every year on Dance Gaming. Right.
Okay. Oh, that's where I've seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the kind of stuff that I hope more people discover, because Monotone Tim has made me aware of all these crazy FMV games from back in the 90s that nobody even remembers anymore. The streamer, Monotone Tim. And
God, he did such a fucking good one lately. Oh, man, what was it called?
Was it the one about the arsonist or the fireman or whatever?
No, this was one... It was a game about, like, wandering around and hitting on people. Like, you just wander through the city and have conversations, and you have, like, a mood bar. Like, instead of stupid, typical video games have, like, oh, you just choose a response. But no, with this, you respond with a mood. So, like, somebody will say something to you that a mood in no way responds to. They're like, so where are you from? And you can respond to them with, I'm happy about this, or I'm neutral, or I'm sad. It's like, what? And then if you say you're sad at them, they're just like, well, fuck you then, and walk away. It's really good. And like the whole game is made of really low-res photographs, and then when you start talking to somebody, just a tiny little square around their head animates and the rest of it stays still, because that's all the fucking footage they can push. Oh, man, it's really good.
Wait, did you come in the middle of the stream?
I did.
So that was the second of those games that he played. Actually,
okay.
That was the first.
Gotcha.
And the first one's called Mode, Art is Dead. And I would highly suggest finding the highlights for that because it's amazing.
Okay. God, were you there when he started playing the fucking Pokemon remake in RPG Maker?
No, I wasn't.
God, that was excellent. Some like junior high kid just decided to remake all of Pokemon Yellow in RPG Maker, and it was real bad. But yeah, it was like largely it was such a weird cross between awful and kind of impressive how how much work went into it. It's real weird though. Like Ash is one of the characters in the fight. Like it's RPG Maker combat, right? So it's like a JRPG. You got your party and you're against the enemy party and you all choose attacks and go for it. And Ash is just in there with the Pokemon, just punching the shit. Like, oh shit, a Pidgey, just fucking whacks it. And later on you can buy a bat and equip it to Ash, and so he's just bludgeoning Pokemon. Like he beat Brock. He was in the gym fight against Brock. Pikachu fainted. He's just got a bat and he's just wailing on this Onix and fucking kills it and gets the gym badge. It was insane.
Oh man, that's amazing.
God, and the Pikachu it follows you around, and it's just this creepy looking, like it's got this big red mouth, and it's too low res is what it is, and the pixel art is not very good. So it's just got this big bright red mouth, and then right next to it the bright red like cheek dots that Pikachu's have, and it kind of just looks like a big ass Joker smile.
Right. I can imagine that.
Yeah. It's real. It's quite a thing.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the game started crashing, so he didn't finish it. But I wanted to see how far he got. He beat Brock, and then there was a little invented quest about how you had to go into the sewer and get a guy's wallet back that he dropped into a well, and then go back up and give him his wallet. Then he gives you a lantern, and then you can go into Mount Moon, and he got into Mount Moon and then stopped. But it seemed like there was at least one more town after that. Like you at least would be able to go to Cerulean and fight Misty. I don't know how far that game goes, but it was really impressive.
Yeah, well, he could do that. I wish he could do that. Just beat up a Goldeen with a bat or something.
Yeah.
Whatever Misty has.
I'm just so curious, like, did this kid like make the whole game? Because it wasn't so bad that it was no effort, you know? Like, this is very obviously somebody who has no idea how to make video games trying their little heart out to make a whole video game. There's all kinds of scripting and shit. Like, this was a serious effort. There's a lot of the game there. At least the first gym and Mount Moon.
Right.
And all of the scripting between that. Like, yeah, it's quite a thing. I don't know, do you remember, did you play the early Pokemon games? I assume you did.
I did. I played Blue. I finished Blue.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, if you're interested, by the way, in basically middle school or high school kids trying to do really crazy technical things to video games, you should go and look up how in the mid-90s the Final Fantasy V fan translation was created.
Oh, right? Man. Okay.
Yeah, I forget which outlet did that, but they did. I read an article recently, and she figured out that because what the scanlators would do, or the fan translators would do, they would basically take the Japanese script and then replace it character for character as far as they could in a way that makes sense with the English characters. But the problem with that is that, you know, English and Japanese are obviously very different languages. Yeah. So she ended up reverse engineering the game and redoing it so that they could put English in a meaningful way without having to stick to the Japanese character requirements.
Wow.
It was insane. Like, this is assembly language we're talking about. Like, SNES has modified assembly language, and she just learned how to work with it. Like, over hours of trial and error. The memory locations and everything. It's nuts. Yeah. That kind of dedication.
That's impressive. That's almost, at that point, you're almost like building an emulator.
Yeah, basically.
Right? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, and of course, by doing that put her in the premier league of fan translators because nobody else at the time had ever thought to even dive into the code to do it. They just replaced the text at the appropriate locations.
Right. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to talk about Mr. Shifty?
Yeah, before we do that quick, just two quick announcements about Twitch, basically. First of all, Green1990 is now a Twitch affiliate.
Hey,
that's
true.
the word I'm looking for. Yep. So be sure to go support him at twitch.tv/green1990 if you haven't done so already. And the second thing is that twitch.tv was running a marathon of the old Carl Sagan documentary called Cosmos. And unfortunately, that's probably done by the time you're listening to this. But I'm sure you can find clips somewhere in which you can watch bits of it if you want to. And I've been following along with that, and it has been very, very interesting. and heartening to me to see that people are responding generally well to documentaries. Twitch chat is an untamable beast, of course, but generally speaking, the people it's been a little bit more thoughtful than usual. So I have a little bit of hope for that.
Sure.
So our game of the week, Mr. Shifty. You played a lot of it on said Twitch channel, like about 2 hours plus last night, I want to say.
Yeah, we played a couple hours of it. So Mr. Shifty is Hotline Miami, basically. It's top-down combat where people are shooting at you, and you gotta punch them until they're dead. It's unlike Hotline Miami in that there's no ranged weapons. You can pick up melee weapons sometimes, but you can't ever get a gun. And but it's also unlike Hotline Miami in that you can teleport around, and that's kind of the chief gimmick of this game is your ability to warp, and it makes the combat really engaging and fun because you can basically, if you're quick enough, you can almost always just get out of the way of an attack and then punch him in the back. So it's a really like fast-paced, fun, like mobile Hotline Miami, whereas Hotline Miami can feel a little bit like slow and tactical by comparison. And like kind of more unfair. Like Hotline Miami, sometimes you'll just get fucked. With Mr. Shifty, there's typically some way out of your situation. I really, really enjoyed it. What did you think, Sen?
I liked it. I probably didn't enjoy it as much as you do because this kinds of games are generally not in my wheelhouse, but I enjoyed what I played of it.
Yeah, it was. It's very good. So we played a couple of hours, and I had already played 15 minutes before that, so I kind of breezed through the early levels. But I would say if I were to play this game from start to where I am now, probably would have taken me about 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours 15 minutes, and I seem to be kind of closing in on the end. But then again, I'm also pretty good at this kind of game, so I would say you could probably expect this game to last you 3 to 4 hours. But, that said, who knows, because I haven't actually finished it yet. I'm just kind of judging by the game gives you like a graphic of the building you're working on as you go. So my assumption is it's going to wrap up pretty soon. It kind of felt like it too. That said, I'm really hoping there's going to be like a hard mode and stuff like that. Because this game I think would really lend itself to like not necessarily a hard mode but like challenge modes. Like I could really see the game being good with like you only get 3 teleports instead of 5, or your teleports come back slower. Stuff like that could lend a lot of replayability.
So I'm looking at a Steam review of the game because the game is out on Steam now, and there's a section that talks about longevity, replayability. This reviewer got through the game in 4 hours. In order to get all the achievements. He went through the game 3 times to give him 16.7 hours, I guess he said. And but aside from that, there are no secrets. No secrets is not quite right. But after the ending, there are no secrets, no additional endings, no unlockables, and no extra difficulty modes. There's no reason to play the game again other than for the achievements.
That's unfortunate. I think there's a lot of potential there. So hopefully they'll add something in later. Because it would be super easy, like, I don't want to, I don't know what the code looks like for the game, but it should be super easy to just say, oh, it takes longer now for your teleports to regen.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, and again, I'm not privy to any of the content plans at all, but I can imagine them like dropping a few free updates after this to add some things like that. Yeah.
Well, one can hope. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with it. The couple of hours I've spent with it were super, super fun. Like it's got a super good game feel. It just feels really good to go into the middle of a bunch of dudes with guns and they all like point their guns at you and then you just blink out behind them all. And it's like 3 of them shoot each other and you beat the other dude to death. Like stuff like that just feels very good and it's very well executed. It's also super fun to go into a prison full of flamethrower guys and just break all the beds so you can take the pillows out of the beds and then throw the pillows at the flamethrower guys, which instantly kills them and stops them from exploding when they die. Pro tip.
I did not do that. Actually, I beat them to death with the pillows. So throw the pillows next time. I gotta remember that.
Oh, it's the same, like, if you attack with a pillow, you throw it.
Oh, okay, then I walked up to them and threw the pillows in their faces for some reason.
Good. Oh man, that probably would have made the game a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. Yeah, generally I did enjoy playing the game, although again, as I said before, this is not really my kind of game. But if you are looking for a game in this genre, I would say that you probably couldn't go wrong with Mr. Shifty. It's
Definitely.
a little bit short, not much replayability, but as we talked about today, the core gameplay is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say it stands up really well to Hotline Miami. I think if you like Hotline Miami, there's a very good chance you will enjoy Mr. Shifty as well.
Okay,
and really,
I've never played.
It's not much shorter than Hotline Miami either, I don't think. Hotline Miami was not a super long game either.
Yeah, I've never played Hotline Miami, so I cannot speak to it myself.
Yeah, Hotline Miami is this, but you can't warp out of the way of bullets, which makes it much more... You got to plan ahead a lot in Hotline Miami.
I see.
You really gotta you gotta be looking around. You gotta say, okay, fuck, there's 3 guys in there. Maybe if I startle them by shooting my gun off, then I'll walk around the corner and then I can shoot them really quick. They also don't wind up their shots like they do in Mr. Shifty. In Mr. Shifty, you get kind of a warning when they're about to shoot. In Hotline Miami, these guys just fucking see you and shoot a bullet at you. So it's much more Hotline Miami, because you also have a gun. It's much more about setting up situations so that you'll win immediately, and if you fuck up, then you die. With Mr. Shifty, it's a lot more about, kind of engaging combat. You'll get in there and you'll almost die, but you'll blink out of the way, and you'll blink out of the way, and then you kill that guy and kill that guy. It kind of lends itself to more interesting combat scenarios because of the fact that you don't instantly fucking die if you make anything that's even vaguely the wrong move, which is how Hotline Miami is.
Sure.
But it also, it's balanced. I wouldn't say it's easier than Hotline Miami because it's balanced by the fact that you can't shoot them either. So right. It's much more, it's harder for the enemies to kill you and harder for you to kill the enemies, though you still do die in one hit. But you have more verbs to deal with them, and to kill an enemy is more difficult than it is in Hotline Miami because you can't just shoot them.
Right.
So... Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think Hotline Miami is a really obvious comparison. I think the developers took a lot from it, but I think they did a good job iterating on the formula and making it their own and making it different and fun and engaging.
Right. No, I don't have much to say that's different than that. I genuinely enjoyed it myself too.
Mm-hmm. Cool, Mr. Shifty. So next week, we're going to do that game we talked about before the podcast. Creativerse. That's the one. My bad. I'm so fucking bad at remembering things. Creativerse is like Minecraft, kind of. It's kind of like... It's like Minecraft with some Terraria-y or Starbound-y elements a little bit. The last time I played it, it was in alpha. So we'll have to see what has changed. But... We're gonna be playing that. It's a good Minecraft-like. I remember enjoying it a lot. I played it with Doxy and Def, like I said, a long time ago. I think CKD was there too. But Zen and I would be playing that together next week, probably on Wednesday again. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Cool. So we'll be streaming Creativerse on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/green9090. So if you want to see some of the game and get our live thoughts on it, we'll be there. We're going to try to get some guests for it, too. We'll see. I don't want to promise anything at all with that because we haven't asked anybody yet. But that's going to happen, and then next week we will discuss that. That's going to be on Zen's YouTube channel as well as my Twitch channel, youtube.com/Zen and Cyrene. Make sure to get over there and follow him or subscribe to him, whatever they call it on YouTube. I don't know anymore. But yeah, be engaged with Zen. Follow him on Twitter. Twitter.com/Zen and Cyrene. He's a good dude. And we'll see you guys next week with more podcast. We'll be playing Creativerse. And that's that.
Yep. And of course, be sure, if you haven't done so already, to go and follow newly minted Twitch affiliate Green9090 on twitch.tv/Green9090. So it might be repetitive, but I'm saying it again for emphasis because I can.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I've been streaming at least a few times a week, so you'll definitely, if you come and follow me there, you will not be disappointed. Well, you might be disappointed, but not for lack of content. You'll be disappointed for other reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on over to the Twitch channel. We have fun. We do the podcast every week. If you're not aware of that, we stream it every Thursday, and we play the game of the week sometime during the week, usually Wednesday. And I've been doing a Dark Souls run, so that's been fun. Cool.
Alrighty. Right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Do follow Zen. If you want to see the VOD for the podcast next week, that'll be on his channel, so make sure to get over there. There'll be a link in the description, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.